like to say it's a successful year because I don't play for anything besides winning championships. I don't get a kick out of making a conference appearance. But we'll see. We'll see what happens going forward. I got a lot to think about, to be honest. Just for me personally, going forward with the game of basketball. Got a lot to think about.
We are talking about LeBron James post-game comments all morning here on Get Up. And the big swagoo Marcus Spears joins the conversation this hour. Swagoo, just real quick, what was your reaction to those comments and LeBron leaving the door open to possibly retiring?
Not surprising. I mean, I've heard Wendy and the guys talk about it. I even heard Monica, and I'm living in a world where I don't want to believe it, but we also got to acknowledge that he's been playing in the NBA for 20 damn years, man. Like at some point, these type of things are going to come to your mind. And I know there are things that LeBron wants to do going forward. Obviously, Bronny, playing with your son would be the ultimate thing I think has ever happened in the NBA. When you start talking about things we've never seen happen in that league before, him and Bronny would be the only one. So that's a big incentive. But to hear LeBron talk about the possibility of thinking about if he's coming back, it shocks a lot of people because we've lived in this era of greatness and what he's done on the court for so long. So it's almost like I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that you're not going to play basketball. But the reality is he is human. And we saw a foot injury this year. We saw him wear down in the playoffs. And honestly, last night, with everything that he put into that game, trying to continue this series to come up short, that can take a lot out of you. And I know the initial reaction may be just that, emotional. But after 20 years of playing this at this level, you got to be thinking about, okay, when am I supposed to sign off based on what I've done and based on where the future may be with me in basketball?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the comments were simultaneously odd and also, sensible, right? I mean, Zach's been talking all morning. He's about to break the record for most minutes played ever in a career. So it's not surprising to hear him talk like this. That said, we also believe that the more likely outcome is that he continues to play and follows his plan. But
Please.
What we believe,
Please continue
right?
to play.
Maybe it's wishful thinking. Maybe we hope. But if he does continue to play, there could be changes around him in L.A. And to that end, his former teammate Kyrie Irving was sitting there courtside last night for the game. And obviously a lot of conversation about the possibility of him reuniting with LeBron in L.A. if they do retool for next year. So I want to get into this, but Wendy, let's just start with you in terms of what's the likelihood of this happening?
Well, the first thing with any conversation about Kyrie, I really can't state this enough. He would probably have to take a pay cut from what his expected salary for next year would be to sign with the Lakers. And so it'd be a pretty big one. Right now, the Lakers can generate about $30 million in cap space. They could maybe, if they do a couple other moves, get it a little bit higher. But Kyrie Irving's maximum salary is $47 million. So you were talking about a potentially enormous pay cut that he would have to take from where he wanted when he forced his way out of Brooklyn. So that's number one. However, the Lakers do have the ability to generate cap space. And to be honest with you, for a team to have Anthony Davis and LeBron James on their roster and to be able to generate cap space is a rare situation. And when I say generate cap space, this would be keeping Austin Reeves. This is accounting for keeping Austin Reeves. So the problem with that is if you go that route, you would potentially have another top-heavy team like they had with Russell Westbrook, but they would hope that it would be a better formulated team. But I must also say that they don't have to go the Kyrie route. In addition to just keeping the team together, re-signing their free agents and looking to draft a player and using maybe some free agency to do some other things, they also can go trade for other players or potentially look at other free agents. It's not Kyrie Irving or bust for this team at all. Yeah, look, a lot of options there. I do think, though, that Kyrie is the most sort of fascinating one. Maybe it's the most sort of sensationalistic one, but he's talking to Alex Rodriguez before the game. I covered A-Rod. I promise you he never took less than the max that he could get. Do you think there's a chance Kyrie would do that?
Well, Kyrie's had some drama and availability issues, so I'm not sure how long the line of teams is that would pay him the max. I'm not sure it extends beyond the Dallas Mavericks, who we haven't mentioned, but they are going to try really hard and have been optimistic that Kyrie's going to stay, and they are over-leveraged into paying him almost whatever he wants, maybe with a year option or something because of the Jalen Brunson departure and all of this. They're going to have a major say in this. But look, Austin Reeves is coming back to the Lakers, barring something shocking. His cap hold is super cheap. They can keep him easily, and they can open up $30 million in cap space. The choice then becomes Rui Hachimura or free agent X, whether it's Kyrie Irving or somebody else. If you pay Rui Hachimura, all that cap room vanishes, and the only way to get him a Kyrie Irving type then is a sign and trade with Kyrie Irving coming to the Lakers and Hachimura and other stuff going out, and that's kind of depressing for the Mavericks, but that's just the reality of what we're talking about. And if we're discussing here that LeBron cannot handle ball handling duties the way he did when he was 32, like duh, he's 38, he's about to become the all-time minutes leader in the history of the game, then a player such as Kyrie, such as Fred VanVleet, a guy who can really soak up a lot of that, is an interesting fit, especially if the cost is really just Hachimura and D'Angelo Russell.
What do you think of the fit, Alan?
Buyer beware. All right, let's start with that. All right, I think there's a little bit of a history here of teams that have seen him leave and have exhaled and said, thank God that's over with, right? Like
a little
you
bit
want that to happen again. But also, the staple of the Lakers and why they were good after all the trades was defense. Kyrie doesn't bring you that. And the availability factor, too. As we just talked about with LeBron getting older, how much can he play during a regular season? Anthony Davis is a variable as well, availability-wise. And Kyrie Irving has showed us that he is finding ways to not play than play a lot of times, whether it was in Brooklyn and also in Dallas. So while this is the headline, right? Put his name there, and this is the sensational story. Do you want stability or drama if you're the Lakers?
And I guess that makes me the optimistic one. I think for whatever reason, not for whatever reason, because of the history that these two share, Kyrie and LeBron, I just have it in my head that this would be the one that would work. Because Kyrie, to all of the points that you guys just made, has made multiple stops. This time
it's going to work.
He has made multiple stops. He's had ample room to experience the weight of the crown. This is a guy that he learned from, that he won with. And at this point in your career, when the options are not abundant, and your window, if you're LeBron, is more urgent than maybe it has been in the past, just due to father time, I think that this has a chance to work. I'm going to bet on the growth of Kyrie and the experience of these two. I'm just going to go with it.
They won the title together, 7 years ago? Mm-hmm. The interim time has been somewhat textured for Kyrie Irving, I think it's fair to say. Swagoo, what would you think of this possible addition to the Lakers, Kyrie Irving?
They've been flirting, man. They've been flirting, and I'm with Monica Moore and Han and Zach make great points about Kyrie. We've all watched this saga play out, but this wouldn't be about Kyrie going to the Lakers. This would be about Kyrie going to play with LeBron James, and I think that's the overall arching part of the conversation. That's a different incentive than going to Brooklyn and trying to create something with KD and trying to create something with James Harden. That's different than going to Dallas, which I went and watched Kyrie play in Dallas. My God, when you see him in person, you ask yourself, have you ever seen anybody offensively astute like that can play this game? So that's why he continues to get jobs, even with people knowing the baggage that we are here discussing, because the talent is unreal when you see it live, obviously when you see it on television. But I think that's the point, and Monica really alluded to it, is that this would be about Kyrie and LeBron's relationship, not the relationship with the NBA or the Los Angeles Lakers, and I think that gives it more of a positive spin than us thinking about things that transpired before this.
This will give us a lot to talk about next season. That's
certainly the reason that we are keeping an eye on it. Wendy, final word on this, please.
Yeah, I think the important thing here is that LeBron is not going to want the Lakers to leave any stone unturned. Regardless of what he is saying about his evaluation, he is going to want them to be aggressive. Just like he wanted to be aggressive at the trade deadline, he's going to want them to be aggressive again. There's a lot of different avenues. Kyrie Irving is one of them. So the Lakers, as soon as they pick up the pieces from this loss, then have to begin to look at how they can swing for the fences to get LeBron back in the fold and to get themselves back to this position next year.
All right, when we come back.